What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy January 24th to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. We have 11 NBA games, one popping off early in Paris, France. Bucks, Hornets, we'll be talking about that. We also have a small NCAA basketball slate. We're going to be talking about that. We have the Pegasus Championship on dirt and turf Saturday at Gulfstream Park. We're going to be discussing that as well. Happy Friday to all of you. We have Mack joining us in 9 minutes. 20 minutes after that, we'll be joined by Teddy Covers. And 30 minutes after that, we'll be joined by Maxwell Smart. Maxwell Smart coming off another winning day. He's been rolling 11-9 plus 1.30 units, but the black is the black. Man, I'm excited. Happy Friday to all of you guys. For me, I went 2-1 in college basketball and 0-1 on that total in NBA. That was atrocious, just an atrocious. 82 points in the first quarter. Any under that you're on that has 82 points in the first quarter, you're in big trouble. Both of Max's plays of the day cashed yesterday. I went on Santa Clara with a bunch of people. It's funny. It certainly seems like when everybody in the chat is on a certain play, it doesn't succeed, and we saw that with Santa Clara and Michigan State last night. I stayed off Michigan State, but I did jump on Santa Clara, and we had Big Ragu. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but the Big Ragu came in the chat and said he was leaning towards the Hoosiers, and he was right. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Jason Fritz in the house. We got Nasty Nate ready to get to work. Omar J. Legend. Mark Unca for Cobra Sports. Backdoor cover, and there's Boston Nick MMA, a.k.a. Mr. Fat Fist. We have a Boston Nick play of the day video for UFC this weekend. That will be closing out today's show. Paul Costa in the house. We got Rod Zawacki, Prime Time, Von Polo, Matt Cratcher, Rye Cave, Yenny Toon, Red Girl, Coy is more, Corey Mack, AJS, Deer Slayer Ski, Remarkable Gaming, Corey Kelly says Smash Murray State Moneyline. Then again, second half, both Max plays. Matt first half, huge night. Let's have a big weekend. Love hearing that, Corey Kelly. Heart and Hand, Serious Business, VA Sleeper, NHL Parlay Bagger, Cobra Sports 609 says, I don't know about y'all, but I'm really missing NHL right now. Yes, we were just starting to heat up, and it stopped. So we'll get another chance. There's my guy, Dave and Cal, 48. Big Pegasus for us, Dave and Cal. Dave and Cal rolling with us. Backdoor cover in the house. The Sweaty Butcher, Ty Clinton, DB, Richard Lee, Anthony Devonti, Von Polo. Von Polo says Omaha Beach can't catch a break. Yes, that's a wide open field now. You take out your top two favorites in any race, and now it is wide open. Joseph Gomez says, where's Lee Martin? We were shooting with Lee Martin all last night. Flash Lee Martin and I were doing a bunch of Super Bowl videos that you will be seeing very soon. Lee Martin, it was a treat to work with her. So, first off, Beat the Bag. Beat the Bag is here this weekend. Free to enter. We've had two low baggers win 250 grand prize, one being Big Ragu, the other being Canadian Capper 72. Join us and enter, please. The more of you guys that enter, then the bigger the cash prizes I can have. So let me pop that up right now. There is the forum link. So all you do is jump on the forum and just list who you think will win each and every race. As a special bonus, my dad will be in the contest this weekend. So you get $250 if you win. But if you beat me, you get 100 bet points. If you beat my dad, you get 100 bet points. If you beat us all, or both, you get 300 bet points. 300 bet points. There's Griffin Spencer, 300 into 1,500, 3-game NBA parlay. Great job. Only 3 games on it. 3 games on Nasty Nate. We got Jake in the house. Rich Kemp, Sebastian Arnold, Al Hard. The team that's ready to get to work. There's Jin. One nice on the Lakers. Mavs money line yesterday. Love it. Joseph Gomez, love you guys. Okay, let's go. So we have 11 NBA games that we are going to discuss and a small college basketball slate. We're going to have Al Mack joining us in 5 minutes so we can start touching on this NBA slate. Although I did want to start with Al on the Pegasus stake. So we'll talk about the Paris game. Why don't we talk about the Paris game, then have Al Mack join us. That's how we will do things. Peter Lucas in the house, Triple Beam Dreams, Mr. Gokster, Chris Brady, AM in the house. Okay, let's go. Paris, France. This afternoon, Milwaukee Bucks, Charlotte Hornets. Bucks, man. Pace first in the NBA, 108.60 possessions a game. They get 15.4 more possessions a game than these Charlotte Hornets. Wow. Scoring 119.4 points per game. They score 16.1 more points a game than the Charlotte Hornets. There's Melvin Betances in the house. I've missed you guys this and missed this show so much. New position at work took it away, but I'm hopefully back. Let's catch. Love that, Melvin Betances. We miss you. Arnold Valentine, Ike Johnson, Christopher Carter, Guillermo Zertucci. Who wins the Pegasus now? We're going to talk about that with Al Mack in 4 minutes, and I'm looking forward to it. Dale Robinson, Carlos Peroge. It's a great group, man. A great group. Mr. Ghost says, hey, Jim, just wondering why you discount Spun around Mucho Gusto at the 8 and 9 spot. Because if you look at how this race sets up, and it's a problem with this racetrack on distances of over a mile. Let me just pull it up right here to see it in front of my very own eyes. You have the tiniest amount of room before the turn. It's unfair. It's so unfair. So you get to start off in that straight, and you have to move directly across everybody. So you're going to be flying. You're going to be at your peak speed right into that turn. It's worse at a mile and a quarter. A mile and 3/16 is a little better. It's worse at a mile and a quarter. But you're going to lose 4 or 5 lengths. That's just the facts there when you start out on the outside gate and you get into that turn in a furlong and a half, 2 furlongs. That's the biggest problem there. A mile and 3/16 is better than a mile and a quarter. A mile and a quarter, it's even closer. All right. Melvin Betances said, while on horses, I got a tip about a horse named Nadal, trained by Baffert to keep an eye on Triple Crown. Yes, Flash has been talking about Nadal often. So we'll talk about that race shortly. There's A. Hilly in the house. Christopher Carter said, Young out again. Young did practice yesterday. He probably will be in the lineup. Let's take a look at the best odds page on the planet. Sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page. Charlotte opening up as 13.5-point favorites. That's gone to 14 at BetOnline, Bovada, and Heritage. This total here in Milwaukee, Charlotte, opened up at 219. Some books have taken it to 219.5. Others have kept it at 219. Bucks have won 7 straight. Hornets have lost 7 straight. Bucks coming off 111-98 home win over the Bulls on Monday. That win came without backup center Robin Lopez, who won't be in the lineup. He did not make the trip to Paris. Giannis, last time Milwaukee played Charlotte, they beat him 137-96. Giannis went for 26 points in 20 minutes. Devontae Graham and Rozier had good games, but not enough. Hornets look bad right now, coming off a very disappointing 106-83 loss at home to the Magic on Monday. This is a tricky game. We'll see if Al Mack is making a move on this. Al Mack has capped the NBA card. We'll see if Teddy Covers has made a move on this spot. Paris, France, Bucks, Hornets. I have not made a move. I have made 3 bets on this NBA card. This is not one of them. Let's welcome Al Mack to the show. It's been too long since he's graced our presence. Al Mack coming to us live from Toronto, Ontario. Al Mack, how are you doing on this Friday morning?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here, and let's just get after whatever we can that's left. Football is coming to an end, so it's time to focus on the other sports, and there's some awesome spots coming up in the next few weeks and days.
Tyler Fernandez making a move on the under in that game in Paris, France. We will speak on that. Peter Lucas says Clippers first half been covering again and again. A lot of people on Northern Kentucky today. Ty Clinton liking them. Rod Zawacki liking them. There's Paco Healy in the house. All right, let's get after this spot at Gulfstream Park. Race 12, Saturday. The Gulfstream Park Pegasus World Cup Invitational Grade 1 event. $3 million on the line. We lose the favorite, number 5, Omaha Beach. Right before Omaha Beach backed out, we lost the second favorite, the 9 horse. It was already been out of my list here. Spun to Run, gone. That leaves us with Mucho Gusto at the 10 hole, which is now the 8 hole, because you're not going to have Omaha Beach and Spun to Run in the lineup. And Tax looking very appealing at the 2. And then The higher power has become a very sexy pick. He was in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That was a race won by Vino Rosso, and our Big Ragoo had 400 on the nose of Vino Rosso. He came third in the Awesome again. Those last two races were at Santa Anita, both grade ones. He's running 3 straight grade ones. He won the Pacific Classic. That was his coming out party at just under 10-1. Al, how are you capping this race? How are you expecting to make cash off of it?
Yeah, I really like Tax at 12-1 here. I think that he's not too close to the rail, but close enough that, as you said about that outside with tenfold and Boat Express, I think that it's going to cause them problems. I think Tax is made for this spot against the rail. It's a smaller field. I don't think he's going to get spooked. It's not that harsh of a spot as we see at like the Belmont. There's not that much of a corner there. It's more of a disadvantage for the horses on the outside. I just have a good feeling based on how I've seen this horse run before. I think at 12-1 at that spot near the rail, he has a good chance to break out early and be involved in the race from start to finish. But I also like Mucho Gusto. I understand what you're saying about him having a little bit of an issue with that outside corner. But the last time we saw him run a really good race was at the Traverse back in August. I thought he ran a good race, and he had the lead at most spots there. Code of Honor caught him late, but I think the two horses that I'm going to be really liking is Mucho Gusto and Tax. I'm very interested to think about what you're seeing. I know that you said higher power right in the center. It might have a good look to come just flying out the gate there. But what do you think about Tax?
I think it's uncomforting that Irad Ortiz chose to ride Mucho Gusto instead of Tax. He's ridden Tax 4 straight times, and he is now riding Mucho Gusto, whom he's never ridden. So Joey Talamo has ridden Mucho Gusto his whole career, and now Irad Ortiz has moved over to him. That makes me uncomfortable. That makes me very uncomfortable. Now, had Irad seen Mucho get the 10 post and Tax get the 2 post, would he have changed his mind? I was shocked that yesterday afternoon, Bet365 had Tax at 12-1. Tax training run on January 19th was a bullet, 47-3. There have been times when Danny Gargan, his trainer, has had him so ready to roll. Is he ready to roll in this race? Jeff Joseph and I made a lot of money off of Tax in the Jim Dandy. We were fortunate. Tacitus kind of tripped out of the gate. But I find Tax extremely appealing. I've got more work to do on this race, but I'm definitely leaning towards a triactor box with Tax, higher power, and Mucho Gusto. And then I'm going to be making a move, and that will be just a small triactor box. I think I'm going to be making a move on an exactor box with Tax and higher power. That's the way I'm going to be planning things. Sad to see Omaha Beach not in the race. Sad to see Spun the Run not in the race. I'm looking forward. Are you going to be tweeting out your action on this card?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I just said, I think Tax is going to be. I'm not saying he's going to win, but he's going to be there at the end. Just based on how I've seen him run, it favors him a lot being on the inside in this track. So I just think using him in exotics is a great idea. Just like you said, that trifecta, Tax, higher power, and Mucho Gusto, I'll be on that for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna load up my account and I'll tweet out that stuff Saturday morning for sure.
Looking forward to it. I do have a locked and loaded HBI account ready to hammer this card. Al, let's move on to NBA. But before we do that, quickly, have you made a move on the Super Bowl?
The only move that I made was post regular season. I made a large bet on the Niners at plus 500. So now I'm I'm going to try to find a spot where I can hedge out and just enjoy the game. I'm looking at some props here. Maybe we can look at that next week. I haven't made any big move. I kind of like the under just because of what we've seen in these Super Bowls lately. I think both teams are going to bring out a game plan that we haven't seen either of them run yet this season. So I kind of like the under. But yeah, it's still some time away. But I'm just going to enjoy it if I can get a hedge spot with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the Super Bowl. I did lock in a play, making it official here on the show. I locked in my first prop bet of the Super Bowl, Damian Williams over 29.5 receiving yards. I think that Mahomes will be throwing under the coverage all game long. 49ers will be only rushing 4 guys, leaving 7 back in the secondary. I heard Donnie Rightside break down how he thinks the Niners are going to defend, and to me, it's just wide open for Mahomes completions. Now, I've sort of missed the completions. Bet365 was afraid to put up the Mahomes completions. It was 23.5 at opener, not there. Bet365 opened it up at 25.5, and I haven't pulled the trigger on that. But I do think they'll be dinking and dunking with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's get into NBA. Al, what have you done on this NBA card? Let's start somewhere. What game do you want to start with? What moves have you made?
All right, the first game that I like New Orleans here on the first quarter. Denver on the road. Denver has a first quarter ATS record this season of 4-17. Meanwhile, the Pelicans 13-8-1 ATS in the first quarter at home. Denver 26.3 points per game in the first quarter. New Orleans 28.6. So that's a 2.3 point differential in favor of the Pelicans. You got the number 4 team in the NBA in pace against the number 29 team in Denver. I think with Zion in the lineup, this team's going to be jacked. They're going to pick it up right off where they left off against the Spurs. Give me the Pelicans first quarter -1. I got it at -105 at Bet365. I like this one a lot. Probably a 2-unit play for me.
And look, Dom Ricci loving the under 25.5 Mahomes completions. He had 23 versus a lot worse defense. Very interesting, Dom. I just feel like he's not going to be going for the big, long throws here. Love seeing Dom in the chat. Interesting, Dom. I just feel like he's going to be going underneath all day. All day. Very interesting. JD Sportsnet, Julian Cesario. I also made a move on the Pelicans. I took them full game -3.5. Full game -3.5. Al Mack's first look on this card. Pelicans first quarter. I love it. Take it away. Al, what's next on your card?
All right, so Chicago and Sacramento. The Bulls 34-12 first quarter under this season, 17-7 first quarter under at home. Then you got the Kings 30-14 to the first quarter under overall, and 14-9 on the road. I find this is just one of those stars. The stars have aligned spots. The Bulls average 26.5 in the first quarter, and they give up 26.7. Sacramento 26.2. You add that together, this line should be at about 52.5, and I see it sitting at 56. I think that's way too much. Give me the first quarter under at 56. I got it at -104 this morning at Pinnacle, and I mean, if this line moves down to 55.5, 55, I still like it up to like 53. I think there's a lot of value. These are two teams that are under City. So the first quarter under I really like here.
Bulls first quarter under. Sorry, what did you get the Pelicans first quarter at?
-1, -105.
-1, -105. And what did you get the Bulls first quarter under at?
56 at -104.
56 at -104. Paco Healy needing women's surfing picks. I actually have a guy for that. Paco, I'll reach out to him today. I'll take that note down. I'll reach out to him today. That's all he does is, not just women's, men's too. Okay, Almac, take it away. I like in your card. Pelicans first quarter, Bulls first quarter, under 56. DJ Big Boss in the house. Peter Lucas says, I got surfing picks all day. All right, Peter Lucas, I'd love to hear it. Break them down for us, Peter. Al, take it away. What's next on your card?
Okay, so I like Detroit and Memphis. first half over here. The Pistons are 28-15-2 this season and 16-6 at home to the first half over. They average 113.3 in the first half, giving up 56.2 and allowing 57.1. Then we got Memphis 112.7 in the first half, averaging 56.1 and allowing 56.5. You add all that together, this should be around 113, and it opened at 111.5, which is where I got it off. I think that number is off. I think there's value on the first half over here. I think both these teams, Memphis tends to play towards the under, but on the road with Detroit and how they've trended at home, I think that number has just been shifted a little bit too low on whatever adjustment that the bookies have made. I could see this being like a 125-point first half. So I really like first half over 111.5 at -106.
Alvin Smith loving Memphis today. Same with Triple Beam Dreams. That's interesting. I always get caught up in Reggie Jackson. He's so vulnerable to injuries, but when he's in the lineup, I like watching him and Rose in that backcourt. Grizzlies, Pistons. Grizzlies pace last 5, 6th in the NBA. That's coming down a little bit. Pistons pace last 5, 13th in the NBA. Pistons coming off that 127-106 home win over the Kings on Wednesday. That was without Andre Drummond. He missed that game with a lip laceration. He's expected to play tonight. That's not confirmed. He's expected to. Bruce Brown, sidelined with the flu. I expect him to be back in the lineup as well. Jackson goes for 22. Derrick Rose goes for 22. Reggie went for 22 in 19 minutes. Memphis has lost his last 2 games following a 7-game win streak. They're angry. Blown out by Boston 119-95 on Wednesday. 19 turnovers. And John Morant, 2 points. 2 points in 24 minutes. Just 2 points in 24 minutes. And Al Mack on the first half over in that spot. Let's just talk again about your look here with the Bulls, Kings under. Kings pace last 5 has been slowing down. Now 19th in the NBA, 99 possessions a game. Bulls pace last 5, 14th. And the Bulls have followed each of their past 5 wins with a loss. Coming off 117-110 victory over the Timberwolves on Wednesday night. They won 4 of their past 7. They're 3-0 at home over their past 7 games. And Levine is rolling, and marketing got me to the over on Wednesday night. Sacramento looks bad. No Bagley, no Holmes. Bazemore has come back. Tolliver played 6 minutes. Buddy Hield not scoring. Buddy Hield has failed to reach 20 points in 5 of his last 7 games. And Al Mack making a move there. So to review Al Mack's moves, he's on Pelicans first quarter, Bulls first quarter under 56, and Detroit, Memphis first half over. And what was that, 111.5?
Yeah, 111.5 -106. And like I said, I like it up to as high as 113.
I love it. Zombie Pie watching from Costco. Zombie Pie, respect. Respect. All right, let's get after it. What else are you looking at on this card, Al?
All right, so Boston is in Orlando tonight, and they've struggled as late. They've won only 2 of their last 5. They're 11-9 on the road. They've lost 3 straight away from TD Garden. Overall, the Celtics, they've lost 6 of their last 10, but they've still managed to outscore their opponents 116-111 over that span. They come into Orlando facing a team that is 13-9 at home. They've averaged an average scoring margin of 2.6 when playing at home. But, you look at the Celtics, 25-16-2 ATS this season, 8-3 ATS when they are the underdog, which is a big factor for me here. They're going to have to overcome playing without Enes Kanter, who's out with a hip injury. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be game time decisions. But I still like Boston here. You still got Kemba. You still got Smart, Hayward. Poirier has stepped in for Kanter. He hasn't looked that great, but he's still a big guy. He can gather rebounds. We might even see Taco Fall get into the lineup here. This is a Magic team that lost badly to one of the worst teams in the league in the Warriors, 109-95 just a few days ago. I don't think even with the Celtics injuries that they should be favored in this spot. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be a ton of Celtics fans in the building. I think your money is on the right side of this game, win or lose, betting on the Celtics. I got them at +1 at -108 at BetCris earlier this morning, and I'm not afraid of the injuries. I think Boston has a shot to win the game outright.
I'm up against you in this spot. When I saw Tatum leave in that easy win over the Grizzlies, I was like, man, do I want to back this team without Tatum moving forward? Am I going to get value fading them without Tatum moving forward? And they're banged up. So Jaylen Brown has got the thumb sprain and he's playing through it. Kemba Walker with the knee injury. And Jaylen Brown sprained his ankle in the fourth quarter, missed the win over the Grizzlies. I'm not certain if he is going to be back. Anthony Devon said 99% of the money on Boston, yet line's still at +1. So Brown is questionable. As you said, Cantor and Williams have been ruled out. I'm going to make a move, or I've already made a move on the Magic -1 at -105. I got that at 5 dimes. I'm concerned that you are on the Celtics. Steve Priest has made a move on the under 212.5. This first half under is low at 102.5, opening at 103.5. Full game. Let me move over to full game. Here is opened up at 213, a big move down to 210. Sweaty Butcher says take the under. Sportsman of the year is on the Celtics money line. So you got Lucky Lefty with you. Wisconsin money line, Memphis money line. So we have another look from Al Mack, Boston money line. How many more looks do you have, Al, so I can set up how much time we're going to have?
Just one more look.
Just one more look. Boston +1 is on Al's card. Let's see your final look on this NBA card. Looking forward to hear it.
Okay, so I like Miami tonight, hosting the Clippers. They come in tonight sitting second in the Eastern Conference. They've won 20 of their last 30 games overall. They're averaging 112 points per game over that 30-game stretch. They have the best home record in the NBA this season at 20-1. They've outscored their opponents by 10.7 points per game on average this season when on their home court. 3.7 points per game over the overall of the season. It was a tough test for the Heat Wednesday night. They gave up a 20-point lead to Washington. However, they still managed the 134-129 overtime win. So the Heat now sit at a perfect 8-0 in games this season that have gone to overtime. The big question, though, is Jimmy Butler. He had 24 points in that game against Washington, but he's listed as questionable tonight. Based on the power ratings here, I see Miami. This should be at about a pick-em price tonight when you're factoring in home court advantage. However, I feel like the line might be depending solely on the status of Butler, and I just feel like Butler is the type of guy who's like kind of posturing. This is a big game, it's kind of that gamesmanship type of spot. I think he's going to play. I know Paul George isn't going to play. Patrick Beverley is probably not going to play as well. So it's just going to be Kawhi as far as the big scorers go. Miami's 14-7 to the over at home. That's enough to convince me that I think that this one might go over at the 221.5 range. But if Butler plays, I think there's strong value on the side of Miami if you've gotten involved already. So I think Miami +2.5, or I saw it even at +3 in some places. They got an ATS record at home at 14-6-1. Some of those games they've done it without Butler. That 20-1 record at home, some of them have been done without Jimmy Butler. So I still like Miami here. I got them at +2.5 at -105 at Bet Online, and I'm just kind of hoping. I'm kind of betting on Butler playing.
Yeah, and I like that. I like making a bet that when you expect someone to be in the lineup. The problem with them, I almost took Miami too, but Dragic left calf soreness questionable, and now Kendrick Nunn left Achilles questionable. Maybe Teddy Covers has more information on those injuries for the Miami Heat. So we're going to have Kawhi back, as you said, and Paul George not expected to be in the lineup. This is tricky. This is a tricky spot. I can understand you backing the Heat here. Our guy Jin saying Paul George and Jason Tatum already being ruled out. We have talked about that spot. GT Randy says Heat don't need Jimmy Butler to hang with the Clippers. Claudio asking me about tennis. I sometimes recreationally tail Prince of the City, but it's not. I don't know much about tennis, so I don't. I don't make moves on tennis, Claudio. Very interesting stuff. Maxwell Smart in the chat joining us. I'm very intrigued by your looks on this card. What did you get Miami at, Al?
I got them at plus 2.5 at minus 105, but as I was doing my article for SBR this morning, I seen it move some places at 3, so I think you can get it around 3 some places.
Al Mack on Pelicans first quarter -1, Bulls first quarter under 56, Detroit Memphis first half over 111.5, Boston Celtics +1, and Miami +2.5. Follow Al on Twitter. He's a very exciting follow, always putting out his action at Spark Al Mack. Follow him on Twitter. Tell us a little bit about the articles that you write for Sportsbook Review, Al.
Yeah, so I'm on an 8-4 run writing articles for SBR for NBA, starting since 2020 has started. I was putting out a lot of high volume with my NBA plays, but now I'm starting to slow it down and just picking spots. This Miami spot is one of them, so hit that up because I'll be on there probably until the playoffs. And then, as always, I'll be doing boxing, Fury Wilder coming up soon, so. You'll see that there'll be plenty of content on that fight to come.
I love it. Al Mack will be tweeting on his looks in the big Pegasus World Cup tomorrow at Gulfstream Park. Al, thank you so much for joining us. We have missed you, my friend. Have a big night tonight, and I look forward to connecting with you over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk. Good luck, and hopefully we can make some money on the Pegasus.
There he is, Al Mack, joining us from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We go right from Al Mack to Teddy Covers, coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada on this Friday morning. Teddy, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. How about yourself this morning, buddy?
Doing okay. The college basketball, Maxwell Smart gave us 2 plays of the day. They both cashed, and I jumped on Santa Clara too, which at times I thought was going to cash late in the game, but ended up missing in overtime. I was badly wrong in NBA. 82 points in the first quarter of that Mavericks-Blazers game, and I just stopped watching it. Okay, I mean, slightly down, 2-2. But I'm ready to hit this big NBA card. I'm excited about this big NBA card. We have a game popping off this afternoon from Paris, France. Milwaukee Bucks, Charlotte Hornets. Have you made a move on this, Teddy Covers?
No, I haven't, and I'm not gonna. I took a shot with Charlotte earlier in the week against Orlando. They played terribly in that ball game. It was, in theory, a Charlotte spot. They were rested and ready, and the Magic were coming back from the West Coast and playing one road game before they went home, one more road game in their trip. And in theory, it was supposed to be a great spot for Charlotte, and they stunk. Now they've had all week off again, rested and ready again. And maybe a change of venue. There's reason to think that Charlotte has a better game in them than the one we just saw. All that said, we're talking about one of the worst teams in the NBA against one of the best teams in the NBA on a neutral floor, and the best team in the NBA is coming to play. So I'm not in any rush to step in front of Milwaukee here. I think the Bucks will be looking to put on a show if they can. From a total standpoint, again, once you leave the friendly confines of the States, there's all kinds of other issues to deal with. I don't look to bet these games outside the U.S. over the total very often. So if I had to play the total, I would probably lean under just from unfamiliarity with the venue and the like. But that's the only way I would really lean in this one. It's too many points for me to comfortably get involved with Milwaukee in a spot where I think Charlotte might show. On the other hand, if the Bucks win this game by 40, can any of us be surprised? No. Lean under.
Yeah, the under is interesting. I've not made a move on it either. Al Mack is on the first half over in Grizzlies Pistons. Pistons look like a completely different team. With Jackson and Rose at the guard spots, Jackson just can never trust him staying healthy, but right now, him and Rose look very good. I mean, we've seen one game together, so sample size tiny. Grizzlies have now lost 2 straight, 19 turnovers in that 119-95 loss to Boston at Boston on Wednesday. And John Morant, 2 points in 24 minutes. Does Ja bounce back? Do the Grizzlies bounce back? Are you making a move here in Detroit, Memphis?
So the first lean was clearly towards Memphis. You want Memphis off back-to-back losses. You want them off a bad loss in Boston. You want Morant off a game in which he was badly outplayed, maybe arguably one of his worst games as a pro. So the first lean was definitely towards the Grizzlies. And then you start looking. You're like, wait a minute, is this a buy sign on Detroit right now? Every quote out of that locker room was positive, and has been for the last couple of games. You talk about Jackson and Rose now in the lineup, and this is what Dwayne Casey envisioned coming into the season, and they're pushing tempo, and they're, finding open teammates, and all of a sudden it's a Pistons team that's showing signs of life. When you have a bad underachieving team that's showing signs of life in late January, those are the type of runs that can carry for a while. So while the initial lean was towards Memphis, I don't know that I want to stand in front of Detroit right now. And that sounds like a funny thing to say. We're talking about a team that's 17-28. Oh, I don't know if I want to stand in front of them. Ooh, the Pistons. But when we talk about profiles, Reggie Jackson, not a guy who moves the needle on the point spread. Reggie Jackson, a guy who clearly makes the Pistons a lot better. And it gives them a point guard for 48 minutes instead of just a point guard whenever Derrick Rose is on the floor. Detroit is a one-way team for me right now. I'll be looking to bet on the Pistons, or I won't be getting involved, which means I won't be getting involved tonight because I'm not stepping in front of Memphis. Fun game to consider. And like I said, the Grizzlies were the first look, and I wouldn't talk anyone out of an over in this ball game. And certainly the total fairly reasonable in the 230 range. Detroit wants to push pace right now, and that's certainly what Memphis is looking to do. So lean over in that one. I've not gone to the window with the side after that initial lean towards Memphis. I fully talked myself out of it.
I came very close to pulling the trigger on the Pistons. Very, very close, and held off. I did pull the trigger on the Magic at -1, going up against this beat-up Celtics team. I like facing the Celtics without Tatum on the floor. And I know the Magic are hard to trust, but I did back them. Mack against me, Mack on the Celtics. Did you make a move on Celtics Magic?
No, I didn't. And, Orlando coming off another loss that's so similar to the losses, so many losses they've had this season, where they're right there in the game, there's 5 minutes left, and all of a sudden the Magic just when it comes to crunch time, that team does not have a crunch time scorer. And against a team like Boston, that definitely concerns me because I don't care who plays for the Celtics. I know there's a decent chance that Boston won't have, Brown is out, and let me get the exact latest info. Tatum is out, Brown is questionable. And I'm not convinced Brown's going to play. I'm really not. They could be missing both guys tonight. But the one thing Boston does bring is defensive intensity in tight games. And that's something where Orlando has a problem, a consistent, reliable problem. So that means it's Boston or pass for me in this one. And if I want the Celtics, I'm going to wait until everybody gets ruled out, and I'll take them +4.
Understandable.
No, I'm not getting involved in this one.
Understandable. You're with Mack on this. By the way, I did lose. I didn't put up my record. I did lose my look in NBA last night. Rafa, could you just pop up the NBA record so we can keep that up every day, coming off a loser there. Okay, next up, Raptors-Knicks. Raptors-Knicks. We haven't talked about this spot yet. Raptors opening up at -7.5 on the road. There are 7.5s at Intertops and Bookmaker, 8s everywhere else. This total opened up at 215.5. It's now 217.5. And man, has the Raptors' pace increased drastically with Van Fleet on the floor. Last 5, second in the NBA, 105.20 possessions a game. Knicks' pace last 5, 21st in the NBA. Both teams off Thursday. On Wednesday, Knicks lost to the Lakers 192. Lakers were on the first half of a back-to-back and weren't putting in that much effort. New York was down 13 points at one point, came back to within 6. 8-15 under Mike Miller. Last time the Knicks played the Raptors, they got beat up. It was in Toronto. They lost 126-98. Knicks are going forward without R.J. Barrett. Raptors playing good basketball. They beat up on the Sixers 107-95. I shouldn't say beat up. I watched that game. They were actually down until, halfway through the third quarter. But they just kept coming at the Sixers in waves. Van Fleet 22, Siakam 18, Gasol 17, Lowry 16, Ibaka 16. No McCaw in the lineup. We think he's got a broken nose, which could be a concussion. What do you think here, Teddy Covers, Raptors, Knicks?
Oh, I could only lay with Toronto. Good team against a bad team. Good team surging. We look at this series history. And again, I don't want to put too much into that, but Toronto, they go to the Garden and they destroy the Knicks, and the Knicks go up to Toronto and they get destroyed. I mean, it's been a very one-sided series in recent meetings. You talked about Toronto's pace. You talked about Toronto's depth. The Knicks don't have pace, and they don't have depth. I mean, this is the way the Knicks cover the point spread. If Toronto's not interested, if Toronto gets up to a big lead and let's go, if Toronto falls asleep, if somebody goes, gets red hot from three-point range, the Knicks cover this number with the randomness. Toronto covers this number because they're the right side. I would only play Raptors here. And again, it's a very one-sided recent series history. Toronto doesn't look past the Knicks, or they haven't in recent meetings, and I wouldn't expect them to do tonight. They've got nothing on tap for tomorrow, and Raptors. You talked about that depth right now. That's so meaningful in a game like this, because every time the Knicks go to their bench, they're at a significant disadvantage. Toronto or pass for me, although I haven't pulled it. I've something about the 8-point favorites on TV on Friday night that everyone loves. I haven't pulled the trigger on the Raptors, but that's the only way I would play it.
What about Raptors team total over? Some talk in the chat about that spot here. Who just dropped it? I just saw somebody dropped it. I was like, yes, our guy LU liking Raptors team total over 111.5. It's 112.5 in my book right now. What do you think about the Raptors team total over?
Let's see. They scored 126 when they played in November, 117, 128, 128, 132. These are just the recent meetings for Toronto against New York. I wouldn't argue with the Raptors team total over. I wouldn't argue at all.
Well, I'm making a move. I am tailing our guy LU. Teddy has given us a green light. Raptors team total over. I'm not going to line shop right now. We're going to keep moving. So I'm just going to take what I'm going to bet. That's 112.5 at minus 120. Here we go. Let's keep rolling. I'm excited. LU, thank you for getting me on that. That's it's nice to be able to cheer on my boys on a Friday night. Okay, let's move on to Kings Bulls. Mack gave us a look and some great stats on Kings Bulls. He's on the first quarter under 56 in Sacramento, Chicago. Let me get back to my notes here. Let's see what the best odds page on the planet is telling us about this spot. Sacramento, Chicago. Chicago opening up at -2, now -2.5. This total's dropped from 221 to 218.5. Kings pace last 5, 19th in the NBA. They look terrible without Bagley and Richaun Holmes in the lineup, and the Bulls pace last 5, 14th. Levine is rolling, and nobody else is. Although marketing did get me that player prop over on Wednesday night quite easily. What's your play? Do you have a play? Kings, Bulls. Teddy, take it away.
So the first lean was Chicago. We cashed a ticket with Chicago on Wednesday against Minnesota. I've said this. I feel like I've said it a bunch of times on the show. But I believe that there's a run in this Bulls team. Okay? And maybe we're seeing some of it here. All that said, that initial lean for Chicago, you start, the Bulls are 2-15 straight up off a win this year. 2-15 straight up, and they're laying tonight, and they're off a win. And that stood out to me. And their last 5 wins gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They cannot put 2 wins together. And when you talk about the nuances of a long road trip for the Kings, they're in game 4 now of this East Coast swing, and they haven't won yet. And this tends to be the step-up spot when a team's lost their first 3 on the road and got smacked around a little bit. Game 4, when they step down in class, I have that mentally. It's like, okay, that's the spot on the road trip that you're looking to back some of these teams. So I'm not laying with the Bulls. I think the Bulls are bet on. I think there's money to be made, a lot more money to be made with Chicago than there is with Sacramento moving forward. But in this spot on this night, I've talked myself out of them 100%. It's a pass for me. 2-15. I got to see him win back-to-backs before I'm asking the Bulls to do it, because they just haven't been able to do it all year long.
Yeah. It's an interesting breakdown. I was close to making a move on the Bulls. Is this, so 4th game of a road trip, struggled in the first 3. I was curious to see whether you think this is a step-up spot for the Kings, or do we put our foot on their throat and press down, and you lean towards Kings stepping up in dealing with this adversity?
In theory, this is supposed to be the spot. Now look, dog days, I mean, this is I've read a bunch of quotes. I've been reading a lot of NBA all week. And all the bad teams are talking about these are the dog days. And this is, it's just going on and one city to the next. And, Sacramento's in the midst of it right now. Do I trust the Kings to bounce back tonight? Hell no. I'm not betting Sacramento. I would only bet Chicago, but 2-15 straight up off a win is enough to keep me off the Bulls. And if we see the Bulls win tonight, that may well be a buy sign on Chicago moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. No taint yet, Carlos Thomas. No taint yet. I don't think I've ever said that before. Hawks, Thunder. You've had a great read on the Thunder this season. Teddy, let's talk about this Atlanta spot. We don't know if Trey will be in the lineup, but I do expect him to be in the lineup. We shall see. Let's see what the market is telling us here. Atlanta, Oklahoma City opening up at -11, now -11.5. Very difficult to make a move on this spot without knowing for sure Trey will be in the lineup. Steven Adams, Terrence Ferguson have been out. Adams dealing with an ankle injury, and his backup dealing with an ankle injury. Noel played in Wednesday's win in Orlando, but he's still being affected by it. And then you have to see Mike Muscala in the lineup, and Muscala's hitting shots from the perimeter, but that's all he can do. We don't know if Trey will be in the lineup. He was not in the lineup in that win over the Clippers. That's the first time they've won without him in the lineup. Hawks, Thunder, 11 points is a lot of points, Teddy. Is there a move to make here?
Yeah, there's a move to make, and you don't need to worry about whether Trey Young's in the lineup or not. You don't, in my opinion, because OKC, we love OKC in so many different roles. We talked about the Bulls 2-15 off a win. Look at OKC laying big points this year. How about 7.5 or higher? You know how many point spread covers they have? Laying -7.5 or higher this season? Give you a hint. If you give me an over-under of 1, you want to take the under. This is not OKC's role. OKC's great road dog. OKC's great in tight games. OKC's in game. You see him down 20, you want the Thunder. You don't want the Thunder laying double digits off a big come from behind win. No, this is not Oklahoma City's role. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I expect a flat effort. I expect them to win the game, whatever, 3 points, 5 points, 7 points, 8 points, 10 points, doesn't matter. It's not a spot where we trust OKC to cover the number. And oh, by the way, without Trey Young, huge problem for Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. You got some guy named Teague back there who's had success with the Hawks before and who's a nice veteran presence at the point guard position. I put Atlanta plus 11.5 in my pocket. My mind, that's the best bet on the board tonight.
Hawks plus 11. We've seen Teddy make his first official play here on the show, and that makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to a spot that I did pull the trigger on. I did take the Rockets -5 at the Timberwolves. Yes, they beat up a Nuggets team dealing with a ton of injuries, 121-105. But I just feel like often the Rockets will go into a spot like this and not care that much. But because they had lost 4 straight and 5 of 6 before that win, I think they'll be focused here. Focused enough for me to get the cover at 5 points at Minnesota. Minnesota reeling right now. There's only a 5 at bookmaker. All the other books have gone to 5.5. I got 5 at -105 here. Towns has come back. This is another long losing streak. Where's Wiggins? I mean, how often have we said that throughout his NBA career? Now he's not even the top 100 players in the NBA preseason. Where the hell is he when this team needs him desperately? I'm taking the Rockets here, and I'm not afraid that this is a team that maybe shouldn't be trusted as a road favorite. Rockets -5, Rockets, Timberwolves. Did you make a move on this spot?
Well, I was tempted by Houston, and I ended up not pulling the trigger. And I'm with you on Minnesota. Minnesota they're a one-way team. I'm either betting against the T-Wolves or I'm not likely to be involved. And we did that on Wednesday. We took the Bulls in that game against Chicago, and Towns flew over. Remember we talked about it on the show. We're worried about, hey, Towns props over. Yeah, you can take Towns props over. You might eat him up. Luke Cornett was not the defensive answer that I thought that he might be. But as a team, Minnesota has Towns, and then what? Rigging for Wiggins. So it's a situation where it's Houston or Pat. I mean, I do not trust Minnesota at this stage, even at home. So then we're talking about laying a price with a public favorite on the road, on ESPN, on Friday night. And we're talking about a Rockets team that got off the schneid last time. And yeah, in theory, the energy is supposed to be great and all of that. The team they beat, Denver, Denver wasn't just missing 3 starters. They were also missing 2 key role players, and Plumlee and Porter. They beat a bottom feeder, and maybe they beat about another bottom feeder here. I could only take Houston in this spot. I'm not excited about laying a price with the Rockets. So this one stayed in the lean category for me. I did not pull the trigger.
I like this 5 very much, and it's because of, there's a thought right now that you can't trust the Rockets at all, and that's why it's 5 and not 7. I think
Sure.
I'm taking advantage of a situation where there's a bit of a recency bias and nobody wanting to trust the Rockets, and I can understand that. Reese saying Rockets are sketch. Peter Lucas saying, I don't trust Houston. Hell no. Because of that feeling, DeAndre saying Harden in a slump, stay away. I really think this is a nice spot. D34 says T-Wolves all day. Philippe saying, I don't trust the Rockets team. I think the Rockets are going to take care of business. In fact, the more that we've talked about, this is now my favorite spot on the board is the Rockets -5. I think they take care of business for me. I'm also on the Pelicans -3.5. I think there's an excitement with this team right now. They had to get through that first game with Zion. They had to get through it. They had to get comfortable with him on the court. And maybe I'm jumping a little too early on them. Maybe I should wait till game 3, 4, 5 or something like that. But I faded them first quarter, first half against the Spurs. I got them at 3.5 this morning. They're already 4.5 at some books. I knew they'd be a public play today, Teddy, but I was not afraid to back them. Should I be afraid to back them against this beat-up Nugget squad?
No, it's not a bet I'm going to make, but I'm certainly not going to try to talk you out of it because Denver's a mess. And again, when you talk about 3 starters being out, okay, they have depth. Now there's 5 rotation players, and all at once, boom, 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 boom. And the best of my knowledge, I don't know if any of those guys are going to suit up tonight. Let me see the latest info I have, and of course, that SBR live odds screen should be up all day. Literally, you just keep it running. No reason not to. Refresh. But you'll see the market start to move as soon as injury stuff starts to happen. So the info I have is Murray is out, Millsap's out, Plumlee's out, Porter and Harris are 2 questions, and Harris to me is the key guy. If there's one guy that I want their best on-ball defender on the floor before I'm taking a shot with Denver. Did you watch Zion? Did you watch it on Wednesday night, Jimmy?
Oh, it was must-watch TV. I 17 points in 3 minutes. I was waiting for him to do something, but that was spectacular.
It was spectacular. It was epic. It was insane, and it's not happening again tonight. Zion's not a 3-point shooter. He went for the kid caught fire. He had he single-handedly brought the team back. Everyone was feeding him. He had 3 minutes of beauty. It might be a while before Zion has another run. And if he does it again tonight, you guys can all laugh at me on Monday. But this is a process. It's not going to be like that every night. There's no way I know New Orleans getting steamed up, and they're the public team, and Zion wowed everybody. I won't lay with New Orleans tonight. And I won't. And if you give me Zion props, I'm betting under on everything. He's not doing that again.
I've got a really nice spot on a Zion prop here, Teddy. It's at 13.5. It's -160 to the over, +120 to the under. What do you think there? Should we make a move on the
Only
under?
unders, brother. I'm telling you, he's not doing that again. He caught fire. It was a magic. I wouldn't expect him to do it again. And the fact that, they cut his minutes, boom. They're like, oh, now that you've rallied the crowd and gotten the team back into the game single-handedly, and now let's put the starters back in, and Zion, you sit over there. His minutes will be limited, and that's not going to change. I would only take, and at the plus price, Zion under is the only way I would look. And again, he's not a 3-point shooter. That's not what he did at Duke. That's not what we expect from him. That's not what New Orleans wants from him, is standing on the perimeter, jacking jump shots. No. I would like Zion under. before I like them over.
Yeah, I got that plus 120 staring at me in the face. Staring at me in the face. Rigu, I'm completely with you on without parole. Completely with you. That makes me so excited. Nilo says they will bring him in slowly. And that's why they left him open, right, Teddy? That's why they left him open on the perimeter, because they know he's not that guy. God, I got to do it, Teddy. I got to do it. Plus 120. How do I not make a move on that?
Because you're in no rush. Because that line, if it's 120 now, who knows what'll be by tip off.
No,
you're in no rush.
No, I think I'm in a rush because they'll move it up to 14.5.
Oh, right. So you won't get the plus price.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull the trigger.
The last one he hit over Pop put Aldridge on him after he hit the first three, and he hit the fourth one over Aldridge when he was just like, it was one of those, Jordan blowing on his hands dealio. But the first three, they're like, okay, go ahead. We'll give you that shot. And if Pop's giving you that shot, it's telling you what you need to know. Pop pretty, even at this late stage of his career, Pop's spot on night in, night out. We'll talk about him in a minute.
Okay, I've made the move here. Zion under 13.5 points at plus 120. I got to go for that plus line. All right, Clippers Heat. We heard Al Mack making a bet that Butler will be in the lineup, taking the Heat at this price. We've spoken about this game a little bit. Are you making a move on Clippers Heat? Clippers open up a -3 on the road. They're now 2.5 point favorites on the road. Ted, are you making a move here?
No, I mean, Miami with only one loss all year at home. That's not, at some point the Heat will lose. They're 8-0 in overtime games. At some point, Miami's going to lose one of these tight contests. But it's very hard for me to make a move in this game right now when you talk about, okay, we don't know if Butler's going to play. All right. We don't know if Beverly. And again, when I'm talking about Clippers games, the guy I'm most interested in is Beverly as much as anybody. They've shown they can play without and win without Paul George. They've shown they can play and win without Kawhi Leonard, as long as they got one of the two. When Beverly's not in the lineup, the whole flow changes, the ball rotation changes, the defensive mindset changes. He's as key as any player, but he doesn't move the needle on the point spread. So he's the guy that I tend to focus on. But I'm seeing George is doubtful and Beverly is doubtful for tonight, which makes me not – it's not a game I'm going to play. It's really not. The injury questions are just too much. And I know the Heat have won at home without Jimmy Butler this year. I don't want to ask them to beat the Clippers without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's not playing. The Clips deserve to be favored.
You were talking about Pop and the Spurs. Spurs open up at -4. That's where they stand right now. Although Heritage has moved it to 3.5. This total opened up 229. It's now at 227.5, or even 227 at BetOnline. 220. It's all over the map right now. It looks like it's falling as we speak. Suns pace last 5, 10th in the NBA, 102 possessions a game. Spurs pace last 5, 21st in the NBA, 99.10 possessions a game. Spurs coming off that win. We were all on the Spurs in different forms. I took them first quarter, first half. Teddy took them full game. It was felt like we were in control of that the whole entire time. Since losing 8 straight, Spurs are 15-12, 6-3 over their past 9. Suns come in off of a bad loss to Indiana, and I don't know what to do with the Suns. I know not to trust them, but I don't know exactly what to do with them other than fade them. Is this a spot where we fade them, Teddy?
Yeah, I put some Spurs 4 in my pocket. I think it was as strong as Atlanta. This is a half-unit wager for me, but yeah, I absolutely took a piece of San Antonio tonight, and I'm just riding the Spurs a little bit right now. This is a team that, again, they've just an awful start to the season. You read the quotes coming out of that locker room right now. They're feeling good about themselves. You watch them play on the floor. The rotations are there right now. Pops, and this, San Antonio is a team that it's not necessarily what they do, and then throughout the Pop era, it's not necessarily what they do in November and December and even January. This is around the year where around the time where year in, year out, they tend to round into shape. So I put some Spurs in my pocket. And of course, these two teams played last week. San Antonio blew 18 points of their 20-point lead. It says a 2-point final margin of victory for the Spurs. They were in control of that game and let it get away. And maybe that happens here. And they didn't let it get away completely. They still end up winning the bucket, although Booker had a look to win the game. for Phoenix, and he bounced off the rim. But he had, the Suns had a chance. And maybe tonight's game is that close where it's one possession at the end, but San Antonio's bet on right now, and I understand Phoenix coming off a no-show game, and in theory they're supposed to show here. I'm not a big fan of the Suns right now, so I took a little bit of San Antonio at 4. And again, this is starting to get steamed as we speak. You talked about the 4s disappearing. There was a 3.5 out there that's gone, and the 4s are turning into 4.5. So if you do like San Antonio, there's some urgency there.
I see 3.5 still at Heritage. You think that's a stale line?
Yeah, it won't be there in 2 minutes.
Okay, but it's there right now. I agree. Why is it not 5.5 though, Teddy? Why? That's my only concern. Is it because people expect the Suns to bounce back from that big loss?
Yeah, I mean, look, my powering number is 6.5. So I too thought the line came a little bit short. And I think there's still a fair bit of mistrust in the marketplace for the Spurs. And the Spurs coming home off a good road trip, a successful trip, maybe. I thought it looked a notch or two short. The Suns have played, the Suns have been very hit or miss. But coming off that no-show game, I think there's a feel that Phoenix is going to play better. And, of course, the fact that when they played last week in Phoenix was a 2-point game, even though it wasn't. It was a 20-point game that ended up being a 2-point margin. That, I think, too, has kept this number down. But like I said, I thought this number was cheap. That's why I have some Spurs in my pocket.
I'm going to jump on it as well. -3.5 hanging at Heritage. We just have the second look now on Teddy's card. Spurs -4. And then we get to this Pacers-Warriors spot. Pacers opening up at -6 across the board. That's where they stand right now. This total opened up at 216. It's now 214.5 at almost all the books. Pinnacle still hanging 215. Pacers have won 6 of 7. Pace last 5, 26 in the NBA, 98 possessions a game. They beat up the Suns 112-87, but Malcolm Brogdon cut over his left eye, and he is probably in concussion protocol. We don't know for sure, but that means McConnell will be replacing Brogdon in the lineup. And then what a mess this Warriors team is. I mean, I just want nothing to do with them. And I don't know whether Draymond Green's going to care, if he's going to get a tech. I don't know what he's going to do. 5 points last game and a tech. I mean, he's a mess. The Warriors are a mess. Did you make a move on Pacers Warriors?
Of course I did. No Brogdon, no problem. Indiana's our number one bet on team right now. And by our, I mean mine. All right, there is no team in the league, in the association, that has more upside right now than the Pacers against the point spread. They've been making money for me, and I will continue to ride Indiana game in, game out. They're an every game team for me at this stage. And the fact that Brogdon's out, I don't love Brogdon out, but again, they're a team that has depth. When you have a McConnell that can come off the bench and immediately contribute. No, he's not Brogdon, but he's not hopeless. The Warriors are pretty hopeless right now. None of the there's nothing positive coming out of Golden State. And again, this is a team that hasn't been in a dog days of the NBA situation. You find this, pre-All-Star break, sometimes find it again in March. The Warriors haven't been playing meaningless games. They're playing them now. And they're playing like a team that's not used to playing meaningless games. And Kerr doesn't. I mean, how many of these guys are really going to be in Golden State next year? It's a situation where they're just biding their time, and any team that wants to beat them is going to go in there and beat them by however much they want to beat them by. I like the Pacers. I'm riding the Pacers, and I have them again tonight.
Hawks +11.5, Spurs -4, Pacers -6. Teddy, did you make any moves on this NCAA basketball card?
I did not. I didn't even really come that close. I had a slight lean towards Wisconsin. I didn't get there. I didn't know what to do with Marquette, Butler. I didn't get there, and I haven't done much. I'm not doing the Ivy League. I don't do much with the Metro this year, so it's not a card that where anything stood out to me. And
then in the prop market for the Super Bowl, big night last night at Westgate, I have made a move on Damian Williams over 29.5 receiving yards. That's my only prop look so far. Have you made a move in the prop market as you were at Westgate for the opening of all the props last night?
Oh, there's so much. If you want, we'll sit down on Monday and talk. The talk prop. There was stuff that I made. There's moves to be made based on arbitrage. There's moves that I have to go through and take a look at what I have in my pocket right now. We did a bunch of stuff overnight in terms of trying to get where numbers are coming up here and numbers are coming up there, and just taking advantage of the difference between the two. But in terms of actual opinions. Let's talk about it. I mean, if you want, we can spend the whole show on Monday talking about it, Jimmy. There's a lot to talk about, but it's easy to get carried away with the prop market. I see guys go with real bankrolls, go all in this week. Obviously they're not going all in based on they're not going to lose everything. They're betting this side and then betting the other side of it and having a nice middle working both ways, and that's a lot of what I'm trying to do.
I'm excited. That's what we'll do. So Monday will be a Super Bowl prop day here at Betting with the Bag with Teddy Covers. And Backdoor Covers saying, Jimmy or Teddy, either of you have a lean on the Pro Bowl. I've not studied the Pro Bowl at all. Do you make moves on the Pro Bowl?
I do not. And I wish you luck if you do. For me, it's a complete coin flip, and I hate betting, laying minus 110 with 50-50 options. But I'm sure if you work it, there's an angle. I haven't worked it. Good luck.
There you have it. Teddy Covers on 3 moves in the association. Pacers -6, Spurs -4, and Hawks +11.5. Follow this man on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us. Have a profitable weekend and can't wait for this Monday Super Bowl prop day.
Thank you, Jimmy. Man, your energy is just through the roof, man. I love it. You get me fired up every morning, and I know that's why it's such a popular show with the low baggers. So cheers, guys. Good luck this weekend. Good luck tonight. And we'll talk again on Monday.
There he is, Teddy Covers. We go right from Teddy Covers to Maxwell Smart. Rafa, my man, please roll the Maxwell Smart intro.
It wasn't until 2018 that the diamond in the rough went from hooligan to king of the world.
The guy couldn't play for shit, dog. He was awful. But can he cap? Yes, he can.
Max, what up? Happy Friday to you, my friend. Coming off an 11-win, 9-loss day, plus 1.30 units. Sure, but 2-0 best bet. You are getting hot on your best bets. You've hit 4 of your last 5 and 3 straight. Great job. I tailed both of your best bets, and it saved my evening. Maxwell Smart, how are you doing on this Friday morning?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I don't really want to talk about the record because it's not really important to me right now, but looking to get on this card and find some winners for everybody. I posted a couple plays that I made official for the show. One that was a little too heavily juiced to make it for my official show record, but that I'm very confident in. So.
All right, well, let's talk about some of your looks here, your official Betting with the Bag looks, and we are going to start with you backing Wright State -3. Will I get your plays all on my worksheet? Why don't you tell us why you're backing Wright State here?
Yeah, this is the Wright State team that's going up against a very hot Northern Kentucky team that's been winning with defense. But I think that when you play some of the bottom tier teams in this conference, I think that you're taking a real step up in class against a healthy and very offensive, talented, and up-tempoed Wright State team. I think that with Ludin Love, we know that he's back from injury. He's putting up 20 and 10-plus games. And I think that when you look at Cole Gentry, he's a solid point guard that really doesn't allow the defense to get set up. I think that the more that Wright State plays their offense in the half court, the more Northern Kentucky is at an advantage. I think tonight, though, this Wright State team is going to be able to push the tempo and get Northern Kentucky into more of an up and down game, because they do have Jalen Tate back. They do have Tyler Sharp. These are 2 guards that can score the basketball, distribute the basketball, and go bucket for bucket with you. But in the end, I think that Wright State is going to be a little too much step up in competition for Northern Kentucky without Dantez Walton. And I think that they cover the 3.5 points or 3 points, depending on what number you can get right now.
All right, and off the top of the show, we heard a bunch of cappers on Northern Kentucky, but not Maxwell Smart making a move on Wright State. Let's move over to the best odds page on the planet. Also, if you're liking the content, please hit the link at the bottom of the screen, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. It means so much to me, as there are changes coming to this show that I will let you guys know about starting on Monday. All right, we've got our first look here on Max's card. Wright State up against Northern Kentucky. Wright State opening up at -3, now at -4. Let's look at the next move on Max's card. He's on the over in St. Peter's Rider. Another reason why you need to follow Max on Twitter. He got in over 135 at -105. It's shot all the way up to 140, Max. Great job. Why are you on the St. Peter's Rider over?
Yeah, we know what Rider does. They push the tempo, they get to the free throw line, they get on the offensive glass, and you can really count on them to get 70 points. I think that with St. Peter's tonight, this is a team that's playing with a really balanced offensive attack, multiple different lineups, multiple different ways to score the basketball, whether that be scoring at the offensive glass, whether that be hitting shots from the perimeter. I think having Quinn Taylor and Derek Woods back has been fantastic, and you have about 5 or 6 guys in the top 25 in offensive rebounding in the Metro Atlantic. I think that when you look at St. Peter's, this is a team that has great depth, and I think that the one guy that doesn't get a lot of credit is Darryl Banks III. This is a kid that is scoring close to 17 points a game. Him and Doug Eddard are solid pieces. I think tonight they are able to get some points. I think Rider continues to do what they do on offense, and I think that's a close game. I think that stays within the number. I'm not going to make it official for the show, but I'm definitely happy with the over and the number that I got.
There it is. Rider over 135. That's not the only over you are on. You're on this Canisius Iona over. You got in another smashing of the market move. You got in over 145 at -105. It's now up to 149 at 5 dimes, 149.5 at Bovada. Why are you on this Canisius Iona over?
Yeah, I think that what we've seen from Canisius is that they're scoring a lot of points. We saw what they did in the game against Rider, almost getting to 100. I think that with Canisius on this 3-game winning streak, what have they done? They've pushed the tempo, they've hit the 3-point shot, and they've scored consistently and not gone through multiple 4-minute scoring droughts in games. I think that under Reggie Weatherspoon, this is a team that when they are fluid offensively and Malik Johnson is doing what he's been doing, which is scoring 20-plus points and giving out 8.5 assists a game, I think that is going to be the trend here. I think that's going to continue. And I think against this Iona team, you have to think that offensively they can be a little stagnant, especially with Isaiah Washington and Tajon Agee getting into foul trouble. I think that Canisius is going to be able to lure Iona, and Iona is going to be willing to play an up-tempo, high-volume scoring game. My numbers really like this up until 147.5. At 145, I'm pretty comfortable with it. And when it comes to the team total over, which is also an official play at 71.5, I think that Canisius definitely is able to hit this. And it's going to really come down to how freshman Jocko Fritz plays down low against Tajon Agee. If he can get his scoring going like he has in the last couple conference games, I think that this Canisius team can actually win this game also tonight.
There we go.
I'll add +3.
There we go. Iona over 145, Canisius team total over 71.5, Rider over 135, and Wright State -3 at -110. All right, let's start breaking down each and every one of these games on the card. Let's start with Kent State Buffalo. Buffalo opening up at -3. They're now at -3.5. And we have come to the taint play of the day. Buffalo -3.5, brought to us by Matt Randall. Happy taint to all of you. What do you think of Matt Randall's look on Buffalo, and are you following suit?
Yeah, I think that if you're playing by the storylines, that's absolutely the right play to make. What we've seen from Buffalo as of late is Antoine Johnson has really stepped into his role in the starting lineup. This is a guy that has sat out waited his turn, and I feel like a lot of guys on Buffalo got a chip on their shoulder, and they're playing like it. There's a lot of guys that were held over from the Nate Oates era, and I think that under Jim Whitesell, this is a team that plays the same kind of basketball, the same kind of depth, and I think that tonight against Kent State, the only play for me to make is to get on the -3 or -3.5, because what I've seen from the Flash is they've regressed. The defense has stalled. Their on-ball pressure has decreased, and that's been evident in their scoring margins. That's been evident in their steal statistics and their forced turnovers. So when I look at Buffalo, this is a balanced team at home. They really put their thumb on Western Michigan, and if you can out-rebound Kent State, you're going to be able to win this game by a couple buckets. So I'll take the Mack's best scoring offense and best offensive rebounding team, and the team that also protects the rim better than anyone else in the conference.
All right. There's a -3 at -114 or a -3.5 at -102.
No, I'll take the 3.5 at -102.
All right. Buffalo. -3.5 at -102 for Maxwell Smart. Riding taint. Max is riding taint tonight. I'm going to tail this. I'm not sure if I'm going to take the -3 or -3.5. I'm going to hold off right now and make that decision. Okay, next up, Yale, Brown, Max. Yale opening up at -5.5, now 6 on the board at Pinnacle and Bovada. This total has jumped up from 133 to 135.5. Yale, Brown, Max.
Yeah, this total has actually done U-shaped line movement. It opened up at 135.5, is now back to its original line. This is a rematch, obviously, of the first Ivy League game where we saw Yale be able to clamp in on defense and really stop Brown from being able to score the three-point bucket. I believe they went 3 for 21 from the three-point line. Although they were able to get to the free throw line, I didn't think that it made a big enough difference in the score, and I understood why Yale won by margin. First off, we have to point out that Yale's 12-3 ATS on the season. They play top 10 defense when it comes from the field and the three-point line. They have the most road wins in Division I basketball. They played a very limited amount of games at home, so this is a tested team. And I think that when you look at Brown, there's a recipe to beat them, and it's very clear. You stop Brandon Anderson, and he's been in a bit of a scoring slump, and you can win by margin against these guys. I think that the only way to play this game is to take Yale first half and full game. I will make it official for the show. And as far as the under, I'm going to wait and watch the line, because I do think that this line will go up, and I do think that I'll get a better price closer to closing line time.
So nothing official on this spot?
No, first half and full game, Jim. Yale, first half full game.
My fault. Let's give you that. Actually, I'm going to line. Well, why don't I just quickly line shop for you? We still have 12 minutes. We'll be able to get to each of these games. Yale, first half and full game for Max. First half, you can have -2.5 and -115. That's the best we can give you. The 3 is just the same amount of juice, pretty much. It's -112. Yale 2.5 -115. That is first half for Max. And then full game, we're going to give you, I think I saw a 5.5. Let's make sure that is the case here for Max. Let's lock them down on the SBR odds page right now. Yale -5.5 at -105. Oh, wait, who's that 5 hanging? Oh, sorry, Max, it's up to you. There's a -5 at -116. That is at Bet Online. -5 at -116. Or there's a 5.5 at 105 at Heritage.
I'll take the 5.5 at -105.
Yale full game -5.5 at -105. All right, let's keep rolling through this card. Next up, Fairfield, Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac opening up at -4. There are some 4.5s on the board. This total opened up at 126, now 128, Max. Fairfield, Quinnipiac.
Yeah, this is a spot where it's pretty hard to go against Quinnipiac in this spot. They're on a very nice start to conference season. They're knocking down 10 3-points a game. They're ranked 9th nationally and the best in the Mack by a wide margin. And the fact is, they know that they can hit threes and they keep on shooting them. And I feel like if you can't close out and you can't stop fouling them, well, you're going to have a major problem, because it's pretty much if they want to drive to the bucket, then they're going to get there. This is a team that has proven that they can get to the free throw line. They can get to the free throw line in volume amounts, and they shoot close to 80% as a team. The only way to play this, in my mind, is to take the Bobcats in this spot. I'm not going to make it official for the show right now, but by my estimations, they can win this game by at least 2 buckets to 3 buckets.
There we go. I like this look. Here we go. We've doubled up on Yale. I know we just talked about Quinny Fairfield, but I am tailing Max on Buffalo and Yale first half full game. I'm going to take the -3 at -114 and the full game -5 at -116, and Yale first half -2.5 at -115. Max wanting less juice than me. Those are my only tails of Max's cards so far. Let's keep rolling along. And Gas Station Sushi, I'll be answering that right away, but I do need more work. And you know what, I'll just tell you right now, I'm leaning towards tax. And it's sort of just a value play at this point. And I need more work on it. I'm leaning towards tax, so at this point. Okay, let's keep rolling. Buffalo, Yale, I've tailed. We've already talked about some games, but not Marist, Siena. Siena opening up at -11. There are 11.5s on the board. This total has shot up as well from 130 to 132 or 132.5 max. Marist, Siena.
Yeah, this is a game that I'm on the under already. I think that definitely this is a rivalry game. You have to definitely think that Marist is going to try and stop the penetration to the bucket by Siena's guards. When you look at Jalen Pickett, you look at Manny Camper, you look at Elijah Burns, what do they all do? They get to the bucket frequently. They want to drive. They want to what do they want? They want to zigzag, basically. They want to freaking use misdirection, and then they want to wait for a lane to open, and then they want to drive to the bucket. I think that it's a good move to wear down a defense, but this Marist defense can really stay at home. I think that it's going to just be important about Siena really getting off this losing streak. They've lost 3 straight. They lost in tragic fashion to Niagara. But I think that this Siena team getting home is going to be the difference in this game. I think that they're going to be able to clamp down on defense. This is the Gold Rush rivalry, and I think that they're going to be able to keep Marist under 60 points, and I think that they're going to be able to get off offensively, but I don't think that they're going to get past 70. So at 132.5, I think that it's a good number, and I think that going against the grain from what we've seen Marist do as of late is going to be beneficial to my bankroll tonight.
So are you making an official move?
Yeah. I'll make an official move. I already gave it out once today, so.
And that is full game?
Yeah.
Full game.
132.5 to the under.
Okay, full game under. All right. Going to be putting that in right now. Next up, let me go back to spreads and totals. So Max going on the under in the Marist spot here. Next up on the card, Max, what we haven't spoken about, Niagara, Monmouth. Monmouth opening up at -7.5. They're now 8 out of 2 books at Pinnacle and at Bookmaker. 8 at Pinnacle and Bookmaker. This total stuck at 142, Max. Niagara, Monmouth.
Yeah, I think that Niagara's going to be able to score the basketball against Monmouth's defense. I think that Niagara is going to allow Monmouth to score. I think that this game is going to be a little more offensive efficient. I think that with Marcus Hammond and James Towns, you have 2 offensive pieces in Niagara that have proven that they can give you a decent amount of scoring and keep you in games and win you games. Marcus Hammond's coming off that, it's coming off of decent performance. I think that one shot was definitely the most important part, but won't dwell on that too much. I think that with Rasheem Solomon also, I think that's another double-digit score that you can depend on for Niagara. And I think that against Monmouth, it's going to be really important for them to get on the glass. It's going to be able to get in transition and what do they do well? They shoot the three. They shoot a lot of threes, and they can make them. So if you got your main offensive weapon going tonight, I think that you stay in this game against Monmouth. But my play would more be to Niagara's team total over if you can get 68. But
Are
I'm
you
not
gonna
going to
make
make it official for the show.
Sorry, did you say you will make that team total official or not?
No, I won't make it official for the show.
All right, let's give Max that under here in Marist, Siena. We can give you an under 132.5 at minus 107 from 5 dimes. That sound good?
Yes, sir.
Marist under 132.5 at minus 107. Okay, next up, we have a couple marquee spots. We've talked about everything else on the board. First one, Wisconsin, Purdue. Judging by your wares this afternoon, I'm expecting we're going to hear a lot about the Boilermakers. They open up at -4. They're -4 across the board. This total opened very low, 115. It's creeped up to 116.5, 117 at Heritage Max. Take it away, Wisconsin, Purdue.
Jim, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm just wearing a hat that matches the shirt somewhat. I do not have belief in this Purdue team. I think that definitely when you talk about what they can do down low with Trevion Williams and Matt Arms, they play well when they're not on the court together. So you'll really have to pick your poison when it comes to their front court. I think that with their home play, they're really trying to get back to what they've been able to do, which is score over 70 points at home. I think that that's the type of game that benefits my bankroll tonight, because the play that I'm on is Wisconsin team total over 56. This is a spot where I think that Wisconsin's definitely going to be able to get to 60. Asking them to score 28 points in each half against this Purdue team that is going to allow you to score 40% from the field and is going to put you on the free throw line a little bit. It's not out of this world. It's not losing any kind of value. I think that with Wisconsin, we know how balanced they are. They got 7 guys that can give you 10 points a game plus on any given night. We've seen Kobe King really start to shore up and be a little more consistent. And then when you have Nate Ruvers, as long as he's not getting into foul trouble, you got good rim protection. You got a big man that can run the floor, stretch the floor, and bring out Trevion Williams or Matt Arms and open up some penetration lanes to the rim. I think that with Wisconsin, they can win this game. I think that this ATS favoritism to Purdue is a mislined line. I would have had this at a pick'em. The play for me is Wisconsin team total over 56, and the other play is going to be Wisconsin +4.
Wow.
I think that Wisconsin wins this game, but I will take the value at +4.
Wisconsin +4. And what did you get the team total over at?
The team total over -114.
And it was 56?
Yeah.
56 minus 114, and back in these Badgers. Let's grab it right now. Wisconsin +4. While I'm grabbing you the best +4 on the board, let's talk Marquette up against 13th ranked Butler. Great game to put a bow on this. Butler opening up at 5.5, now 6.5 at some books, 6s at others. Total going at 137 down to 133.5. Marquette, Butler, Max, take it away.
Yeah, it's a weird game because I expect Butler to be able to correct some of what's been going on the road and what's been inefficient and deficient. I think that with Butler, you definitely have advantage to play inside, slow the pace down, really make Marquette pass the ball around and use up some shot clock. So I'd be looking at the under, but I think that I've missed the best of the line and I actually let it go. I think that this is more of a coin flip total, but the numbers do like Butler up until 134.5, which I think that it's already passed. When I look at Marquette, the problem with Marquette is on the road, this is a team that plays less confident. I think that when you're in a stretch, you need Marquette to be able to hit shots and be able to make Butler speed up their tempo. I think that it's easier said than done to lock down Marcus Howard. I've been on the show many times and said that when you have a 40 to 50 point score, you don't bet against him. But what I've seen from Marcus Howard so far this year has not been the same as last year in my estimations. I think that Butler is able to lock them down. I think that Marcus Howard is going to be forced to take rush shots, contested shots, and shots from further outside the three-point line than he's used to. I think that Butler definitely wins this game. I don't know about 6 points, but by my estimations, I think that this game has a good chance of staying under, and it's more of a Butler tempo style game.
All right, Max, that lead. I'm going to tail the Wisconsin team total over. Reese is on that as well. So we got Reese, we got Max. I'm going to take Wisconsin team total over 56 as well. Now, Max, we've come to your play of the day, riding a 3-play winning streak. You've cashed 4 of your last 5 plays of the day. Take it away, Max. What's the play of the day?
Yeah, so we're going to go back to the team total world, and we're going to go with a game that I expect to have some pace and tempo. It's a little bit of juice, but I think that's a solid play. We're going to take Northern Kentucky team total over 69 minus 121. This is a Northern Kentucky team that has done a good job of getting 70 points, whether it be a win or whether it be a loss. I think, like I said before, they play a Wright State tempo of game. I'm not saying they win because we know what my play is full game, but I do think that they get over 69. And minus 121, it's a little high for juice for the show, but it's going to be the play of the day regardless.
All right, Max running hot on the play of the day. Northern Kentucky team total over 69. Northern Kentucky team total over 69. So you're backing Wright State. You are backing Northern Kentucky team total over 69. Why are you not taking Wright State team total?
I could, but I'm not going to triple up on the game for the show.
I feel you. Northern Kentucky team total over 69. I am going to keep riding with the play of the day. I've tailed Max and cashed 2 days in a row, so I'm going for 3 right now. Let's go over Max's plays quickly. Iona over 40. Oh, I got to, sorry, copy this here, copy that, and put that here. Sorry, there we go. Boom, boom. Iona over 145. Ryder over 135. Wright State minus 3. Canisius team total over 71.5. Buffalo minus 3.5. Yale, and that's at minus 102. Yale first half minus 2.5, minus 115. Full game minus 5.5, minus 105. Marist under 132.5 and minus 107. Wisconsin team total over 56 and minus 114. Wisconsin plus 4, minus 105. Northern Kentucky team total over 69 and minus 121. Max riding with the taint play of the day, starring our Matt Randall. I am also riding with the taint play of the day, but I'm going to take a little bit more juice than Max. I'm going to take Buffalo minus 3, minus 114. I'm taking Yale first half minus 2, minus 115. Full game minus 5, minus 116. Wisconsin team total over 56 and minus 114. And Northern Kentucky team total over 69 and minus 121. I'm following 5 of Max's plays. Max, my man, great job. Great work. Thank you so much. Stay hot for us, Max. We need it badly. Stay hot for us. Follow this man on Twitter. Let me pull up Max's new Twitter handle. We're hoping to get the old one back, but Max's new Twitter handle at CBMS420. CBMS420. And then I need you guys to join us in the Beat the Bag Pegasus edition. All you have to do is free to enter, $250 to the winner. All you have to do is list the horses that you think will win each race. Just the winner of each race. And list it in the forum. There's the forum link. And then here is the program for you to find the horses that are running in each race. There you go. Please jump in. Nilo got Yale this morning at minus 5. Great job, Nilo. Please jump in. The more people I have in the contest, the more money we can have up for grabs moving forward. So thank you so much. Also, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. If you could hit that link at the bottom of the screen, that would mean a ton to me. Also, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. We've got nothing without your support. Paco Healy, Max's play of the day is Northern Kentucky team total over 69 at minus 121. Christopher Comentini doing your horse work tonight. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Ty Clinton, Prince of the City, Christopher Comentini, Farsha Asami, Chris Brady, Nilo, Big Ragu, Don, Carleone, Paco, Healy, Eric, Crouch, Matt, Randall, Mark, Unca for AJS, Nasty Nate, Gungung's Time Machine, Miss J, Raven in the Desert, Big Ragu, Dom, Ricci, Gerald Jones, Steve Priest, all you guys, we have nothing without you. Max, could you please leche us into a glorious weekend?
Absolutely. This is a leche dedicated to the one and only, a pretty man, a misunderstood man. His name's Freddie Fortune, and I go, leche, los bookmaker!